You're listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam, and I'm your host. And today's episode will be brought to you after these words from our sponsors.
Moving now on to an update following the explosion yesterday at the Glaytok Energistics factory in Carminus. As our listeners will know, members of the Factory Workers Union have been striking at the factory for several weeks now, protesting low wages and what they say are hazardous working conditions. The Wildcat strike originally began following the tragic death of 3 Tynan children employed to clear the phlogistic intakes which can frequently become clogged. Relations between Glaytok Energistics and the strikers have become increasingly strained as the strike has progressed, with Glaytok hiring Jektov Harrick security concerns to attempt to break the strike, resulting in several brawls along the picket line and a number of injuries on both sides. Authorities are now suggesting that the explosion is as a result of an improvised explosive detonating within the factory, which subsequently caused a number of the batteries waiting for transport to cook off and detonate further. Thankfully, no one was harmed due to the striking workers refusing to allow potential replacement workers to cross their picket line, but accusations are being levelled against the extreme wing of the Factory Workers Union, a group known as the Workers' Fist, who are connected with a number of other incidents of sabotage and damage across the continent, including in Horizon City itself. Arrest warrants have been issued for any member of the Workers' Fist, including the Nortolan Kithis Tak, who is suspected to be the leader of this dangerous fringe group. The Factory Workers Union, however, continue to deny the existence of the Workers' Fist, alleging that it is a sock puppet invented by Glaytok Energistics and other members of the various manufacturing consortiums to undermine the valid protests of legitimate and legal labour unions. More on this story as it breaks. We move now onto music news, as composer and maestro Lucibel Cristo begins her tour of the outer provinces with her new concerto, accompanied by the Horizon Independent Philharmonic Orchestra.
The dawn breaks in smudges of amber and grey, leaking through the dense veil of storm clouds that hang like bruises above the Ashen Waste. The wind howls faintly outside the reinforced hull of the Aurora, but within the bridge all is calm, quiet enough to hear the old wood panels and the faint hum of the instruments. Whilst the ship is asleep, Kuro is awake, vigilant for the oncoming storm. But it's not what's in front of you that worries you this morning. A silhouette where there should be none, a distant ship, low on the cloud line, shadowy and still, a ship, sleek and silent, is tailing the Aurora like a predator. But we'll come back to you in a second, Lou, because everybody else is asleep. The only person who isn't asleep as well is Adam, but we'll not go to Adam at the moment, and we'll go to Captain Heek. Captain Heek, are you having lovely dreams?
I imagine that the captain sleeps curled up with the tail over the top, and does the cat thing of like chasing, if you see what I mean, his pose
Yep.
one. And it looks absolutely adorable, which would horrify him if someone like pointed that out as well. But yes, I think he's one of those people who dreams in black and white, and it's of things that have happened in the day. When he wakes up, he can be like, "Oh, I know what that was about. That was about the fact that I did this." If you see what I mean, it's a very kind of like a. And sometimes his days are very exciting, so he has very exciting dreams, but they're still like actually just like, "Oh no, that's just what you did that week." Sort of dreams. So at the moment he's having a wonderful dream about fixing engines, and he'll be very annoyed when he wakes up and in his dream he'll have done the thing perfectly, but won't quite have done it perfectly in the film.
Excellent. Ross, Savril, are you having lovely dreams?
I think Savriel's one of those people who doesn't remember their dreams very often, and also, like, if you watch Savriel while sleeping, you wouldn't really notice any movement at all. He's one of those people who's very still while sleeping. But if he did remember his dreams, they would be one of those intense dreams where, again, the sort of things you've been doing recently, or the things that have been you've been obsessing over in your mind, will have turned over, and you'll be one of those dreams where you're running down a corridor, which just lots of turns, but it's always just it repeats, and it's long corridors, and it's just big spaces which never actually get you to where you're trying to be. So if he remembers his dreams at all, it's going to be something along those lines. But it's a question of whether he's going to be obsessed over material he's read recently or over, say, larger family issues. I'm not sure which he'll have been doing today.
Excellent. Thank you. Adam, Rakeo's had a less than lovely dream. What are you doing while the rest of the ship is not awake yet? Are you the sort of person to stay in bed in the comfort and warm, or would you be going out to get an early breakfast? What do you do?
On a typical day, when he wakes up before his alarm, he is an early riser. He will get up, he will do some exercises. He has a physiotherapy course for his knee, which he still does wherever he possibly can to try and keep it as loose and flexible. It is permanently damaged, but you can still do things to mitigate the impact of that. And there are flexibility and strengthening exercises that he still does nearly every day just to kind of keep the joint moving. And knowing where we're going, that mobility in the joint, that flexibility is very, very important to him. And so on every other day, that is the sort of thing that he would be doing. And then he would put a pot of coffee on and a pot of tea and generally start getting things ready for everybody else to wake up and to come in and have a brew straight away. This is not one of those days because of the dream that he's had. So he is meditating, to be completely honest at this point. He has woken up in a state of dishevelment and concern. He's taken some time to get his heart rate and his breathing back under control. He has folded himself into a meditative position. He has his staff of office stretched out across his legs, and he has the necklace with the twin moon symbols of his church, of his goddess, clasped in both hands, as he's focusing on his resolve, his breathing, his, I want to say body consciousness, but that's not quite what I mean. The awareness of himself and his place in the world. And he is focusing on the articles of his faith as he just tries to shake off the nightmare he's had. Now, he knows that was a true vision, because Rakeo has visions, but usually they are prompted by meditation, by prayer, by incense, by rituals. There are rituals of the church kept for Kaladat priests to tap into the deeper mysteries and the deeper miracles of his goddess. It is very, very rare that he has...
Having a vision is proactive, and this was not.
Yes, quite. It is extremely rare that he has a vision unprompted, and every time he has, it has always been portentous, a warning from his goddess that something bad is coming, and that's what he needs to master himself about before he can then go and tell everybody else and persuade them, really, that he's not just some mad priest talking, having had a bad dream, that he does know how to channel the visions from his goddess. So that is what he's currently doing, getting ready to then get dressed and take his morning ablutions and go and meet everybody else. But at the moment, that is what he's doing. Excellent. He needs to master himself.
Lou, Kura's not having a dream. Kura's just noticed that you are being tailed. How do you react to that? What are you doing with that information?
Well, at the moment, I am doing nothing. Because if I make any immediate manoeuvres, they're going to notice that they've been spotted. And I don't want to turn this into a chase until I know that I can get away.
It is worth noting that you can't see them at all times, so they can't see you at all times. So there is a certain amount of, you may lose them for a few minutes and then they're there because of the clouds. So you spot them for a break.
Yeah, so I will be monitoring the weather conditions, looking for any upcoming cloud banks. I'd imagine also, like, Kuro's just got, like, a slice of toast hanging in one hand, like, half-eaten, maybe even hanging out of their mouth. And all of a sudden is just on high alert, scanning the horizon, scanning for any, like, formations in the wasteland itself, scanning for any cloud banks, checking the wind conditions, anything that might give us an advantage to take when it's the right time, rather than just, panicking like a scared rabbit and bolting.
You are a pragmatic person who takes control of situations and makes things work. I know how you are and why you are useful for LaRue, and this is coming across really strongly here. with how you can manage a situation by not just panicking. It's worth noting, and I said it last time, but I'll reiterate, this looks like it's one of the personal fleet of the Council. They have set ships, they are quasi-military, they tend to be very much like Air Force One, but there is more of them. It is a Council member's ship. There are 12 Council members, so it could be anybody, but it is a military vehicle, and it really shouldn't be out here. Whilst you've seen them before, and they look official, you can't help but not think that it looks sinister as it follows you.
So there's also the thought of, yes, I would like to radio back to command, but also I'm also very aware that those transmissions may be picked up. So I'm not doing that. I'm going to keep everything on the down low to make sure until we're agreed of a course of action. Because if these people were here on, the up and up, then they would have radioed us to, go in convoy.
They would. There's no such thing in Sanctaris as radar. That whilst you can communicate between ships through long-range communications, short-range communications, there's no radar kind of, you can sense things if just generally out there. Given who you are, I won't even need you to roll for this one. When you sat down at Iron Vale Station, a massive communications system was put in your ship so you could repeat back to Horizon City, because it would be impossible to do so otherwise. And if they were tracking you, that would be a good way of tracking you, because it is a humongously big communications array. It's not the sort of thing you would have on a ship like this. Whilst you can't detect it through like a radar beep or anything like that, if you are communicating out at all with this communication system, you can kind of figure out where things are, considering how long it takes for the information to go in there and back and where it hits from.
They haven't hailed us, so they probably don't think that we've spotted them, because we're just a bunch of bimbling amateurs. They're military, but because they're military, if they were legit, they'd have hailed us.
Yeah, okay.
So that is currently where Kuro's mind is, but I'll wait for everyone to, get up.
I would like a survival roll rather than a piloting roll, because I want you to see if there is... You're looking out for environmental situations that might be advantageous to you to maybe lose yourself, things like that.
That is one failure and one advantage.
Okay. All you can really see is in front of you there is a storm. So whilst you're not going to get any advantages, there is going to be the opportunity to potentially go undercover in the next 2 or 3 hours, because the storm front is in front. At the moment, it's fairly mild, which is why you were able to spot them, but 2-3 hours, there's going to be a storm. As to your advantage, I'm quite happy you're using that as a boost on any piloting roll you want for next.
I would like to get one strain back from the strain that I took at the end of last session.
You've got about, I'd say, an hour before everybody gets up. Are you just flying casual? I believe the Star Wars phrases.
I will fly casual. I will also put on a pot of coffee, because I know absolutely that will wake up Captain Heek.
Then we'll move to Captain Heek. You wake up, Captain, and the first thing you smell is a delicious pot of coffee. Somebody is brewing. Probably worth time to get up then.
Bisto advert styley, which is a reference that not everyone will get. He will almost follow his nose floating towards it.
You are a wolf seeing a pie on a windowsill. Everybody will get that one.
But yes, he pulls on his gloves. He makes sure that he's properly attired. He looks very smart. Sprays on a bottle of scent that he received for an advert that he did. That he has lots of this, so he's not sure why they keep sending it to him, but he puts it on because people say it's nice. So I'd like to, as I head towards is the weather unusual at the moment, or? No,
the storm has kind of abated, but so you can't hear the hum of the bad weather against the frame of the ship anymore. So it looks like the weather is a little bit better than it was. But as you walk past some of the windows, you see that that's not going to stay like that. The skyline in front of you is like a bruise. There is going to be bad weather later. I believe, as the little child in Terminator 2 says, El Diablo Tormente.
And turns round to Kuro and goes, anything to... coffee, anything up? You do know if you need to rest, I can hold the wheel. I can at least do that.
Well, we have a problem.
Really? He visibly brightens up because he's been looking for something to do.
We're being hunted.
Look out the window. What do my beaver eyes see?
Beaverless, what do your beaver eyes see? It's not easy to spot, but with being pointed to it by Kuro, you see, just darting between the clouds, there is a shape. It is a black, sleek, bigger than you airship. It's probably about maybe 2 miles away, 2 miles behind.
Military.
That's a council ship.
And with this, sort of like, give a none too gentle boot to the communication system.
They know we've got this. If they were here, they'd have hailed us. There's been radio silence. So, they're not here for legit reasons.
You two both know that those ships are quicker than you. And yet, over the last hour you've been watching them, they haven't got any closer.
A few thoughts, clearly up to no good. We could overpower their communications. This array is quite powerful. We could send out a pulse, but they would definitely know that we know. It's not too hard to do. It would take me a little while to make it be very loud, but it would definitely, they would know that we know.
My thought was, I'm gonna fly us straight into that thing,
Points towards the storm.
and then we boot the damn thing out the door.
Can I make a survival check?
You can. While you're getting the dice together, what's the survival check for?
Two things. I want to know the state of the weather in the clouds and so on, but also I'm trying to figure out when the next actual storm will happen, because the best time to send a pulse of frequency across is when there's lightning.
If you stop... Actually, we'll roll a second. Get your dice together. It is difficulty 2. While you're doing that, Adam, you have centered yourself to a point where you are able to talk about your dreams without seeming potentially hysterical, and you make your way up to where everybody else is, which is the bridge. Ross, similarly, you wake from a dream that you have no recollection. Put on your tactical clothing, strap your carbine to your back, and set off to go and find something to eat. It seems like there is something going on the bridge. So, Ed.
That's a success, a threat, and a triumph.
Okay. A couple of things. This was put in here by the council. If you were intending to track you, then a giant communications array is probably the best way of doing it. So they are more than likely able to track you through this storm because you have a big beacon in your ship. That's just general success information. Survival-wise, the storm's about, as you progress on with this speed, probably about an hour away, probably about 2 hours away if you just stopped. It's coming towards you. It is, but you are heading towards it. It doesn't seem particularly worse than the storms you've hit before, but it is a bad storm. It's one of the. It is another wave in the inclement weather of the Ashen Waste. But visibility will be down, and it'll be a rough ride. What would you like for your triumph?
For the triumph, I would essentially like to point out the clouds and, like, in almost like too much detail, that means this, and that is that sort of cloud. So in about, looking at his watch, 45 minutes, and essentially by like talking it through and talking the weather through, because he flies around on a bee all the time. He's a little bit used to, like, you know, navigating this sort of thing. So I would like to give boost to Kuro when they're navigating the storm and finding the right.
Yeah, the next piloting roll you do, Lou, not just a boost, you can upgrade one of your dice.
Excellent, thank you.
I suggest we don't boot out our communications array. We might need it, but we can definitely turn it off, so it is definitely off. Also, we can probably use it to make their tracking ability harder. I might, if I'm lucky, knock out their communications as well.
I'm sorry, who is tracking us? Why would we want to turn off the communications array?
Oh, points.
Rikeo doesn't look out the window, he just stands there for a moment and adjusts the veil
Flying,
over
Captain,
his missing eyes.
Use your words, Captain.
Point takes a double take us. We're being followed.
Followed by who?
The council.
The council?
Yeah. Military ship. Spicy. Guns out.
Are they flying any other insignia other than that of the council? Are they even flying the council insignia, or is it merely that you recognize the chassis?
Recognise the ship. Too far away to pick out details.
Might have to see if there is mayhap a telescope or something for a closer view. This worries me, my friends, for more than merely the obvious. In the reading of the diary and the looking at the runes which were recorded by our friend carved into the gateway, one of them resembles a crown of spikes, or perhaps more accurate to say, a crest of thorns. Now, Eve Thorncrest was acting peculiarly while at the demonstration, the unveiling. He is on the council and installed this apparatus here. It concerns me that the crest of her family has been recorded in these ruins. It could be coincidence. It could very well be coincidence, genuinely. Although I don't know how, given the ship.
Adam, just to clarify, it's not the crest of their family, it's her company's logo.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, similar sort of thing, but the Thorncrest company logo looks very similar to the thing that's on the front, on the doors of this ancient tomb.
Sorry, I misunderstood. It is the crest of her company, Thorncrest Research Solutions. It's not my area, I'm afraid. I don't know if anyone else here knows more about... It is not my area, I cannot say. Does anybody else here know?
Are they someone I might have been hired by in the past?
They are what's the best way of describing it? They're industrial, essentially. They deal in solar works, and they try and push the frontiers. Mostly every single large company is based around the power of solar energy, be it either like cars, boats, things like that. They are a tech conglomerate, so they push boundaries of solar power. Not necessarily anything connected to ancient ruins or anything like that, but they've got fingers in a lot of different pies. They do. They look to break the boundaries of things. They tend to push new technology. Simple droids they deal with. Whilst they're not an automobile company, they have a few instances where they sell cars. They don't sell massive amounts of them. They tend to be higher end, things like that. They work in infrastructure as well. They're not a specific company that sells one particular thing. They are a conglomerate that will do lots of different types of stuff, but mostly they're a research company that pushes the boundaries of what they can do with power. Those of you who've connected to the Horizon League, Lou, for example, knows that they have funded a lot of expeditions into the wastes, because any new technology that is found, they tend to kind of backwardly compatible work out what can be used and then create new technologies out of them.
Okay, that sounds like they would have hired me at some point as well then.
Yeah, they're a big company. She's one of the wealthiest people in Horizon City, so there is a good chance that any of you may have had connections with them. They don't seem like an evil, shadowy organization that's trying to control the world.
They're corporate evil.
Other than the fact that they are, and she's a very wealthy industrialist. You know, no extra evil, just base CEO evil.
Whatever, we need to shake them off. I mean, they know where we're going, but how long it takes us to get there.
They know in which direction we're headed. They don't know when we're going to stop.
Yeah, that's right, says Voss. They won't know where we're going. We're having to figure out where we're going from the diary as we go.
That could well be why they are following us at a distance. But then again, the crest, this insignia, they have been to this place themselves, or at least representatives of the company must have, to have claimed it with the sigil, or else to have taken the sigil from the ruins.
Could the sigil not have come from something else?
Also, we don't know what records they've kept.
Yeah.
If they've taken the sigil a long time ago,
Yeah, and it could be it's just coincidence that there are two similar sigils and there is no link. But the fact that there is this vessel following us, running without communicating with us, have any of us heard from Lady Songcrest when we have communicated back to Lambert or the others?
Nah, but then again, we weren't asking.
That is true. To add a further consideration to what is ahead of us, although I suspect it will not come as much surprise, it is one of the gifts given to me in my role as a Calanet that my lady grants me occasional visions among the miracles which I have access to. These visions are like waking dreams of what may come, and when focused upon and channeled through meditation, they can be examined for information, for warnings, for hints of what may come, similar to that of a lucid dream, except more prophetic. Last night, unbidden, I had one of those visions. Where we are going is a center of great danger beyond merely the physical. I imagine this will not come as a surprise to any of us, for we have all, to a greater or lesser degree, felt the malevolent influence of the prism. We have all, to a greater or lesser degree, seen firsthand the power that the prism has over others, such as the Vreen, and we have witnessed the dark miracle of the choking of our friend through unknown and unnatural means. But my lady has reinforced to me in her vision that where we are going is likely to be imperiling our spirit as well as our flesh. We will need to be on guard for further influences of this crystal and of the temple which we will be returning it to. I also fear that the moment of gravest peril for all of us will be when we put that back. We must make sure we do this correctly so we do not awaken the sleeper and grant it its freedom, for I feel that would be catastrophic for all of us.
I'll leave that one in your capable hands, Calinat. Bit beyond me.
One area where I would be leaning on all of your expertise is a way to seal the temple when we are done, in a way that will render it unavailable for our pursuers and the disciples of this Korath.
That's a very long way of saying explosives.
If explosives are the medium, Captain Heek, I will defer to you on this one.
Voss kind of speaks up and says, "It took us quite a while to find the temple, and we only found it because the storm blew the sand away from the doors. If they don't know where it is, maybe we could not blow it up? We could hide it?"
My concern is if they are tracking our vessel, then they may know where it is by following us, even if we disable or otherwise remove the communications device. If we are concerned that this has been bugged, it might not be the only thing on the ship which is broadcasting a signal that can be followed.
I have a question. What's our altitude at the moment? Can we see the ground underneath us in any detail, and do we know whether any Vreen are currently tracking the ship from below us?
The answer to that question I could answer, but Lou, how high up are you?
Well, it's an airship, so it's not going to be, like, aeroplane high, because it's not a sealed vessel.
Yeah.
Especially because it has a deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be able to see the ground, you'll be able to see, like, details. You won't be able to see, like, everything, because we're still relatively high.
Yeah. Probably about 3,000 metres up, something like that, with a top range of probably about 5,000 metres.
Yeah, certainly someone from the ground couldn't shoot it.
Yeah.
Is, like, where Kuro's mind is.
Yeah, it's not whether we're getting shot at, it's just whether we're being followed, whether the kind of Vreen who were chasing us a couple of days ago can still track a crystal in an airship.
They would not be able to track, because you are going far faster than they'd be able to follow you.
Okay.
You haven't spotted anybody on the ground previously. You are somewhat in the middle of the cloud, so in the storm you can't see anything.
Okay.
There are gaps in the cloud where you can see the ashen ground.
Mm.
You haven't seen anything, but you could go out and have a look.
I would like to go and have a look. Ideally, with taking advantage of like a lens off one of my guns or something to see whether I can see anybody on the ground.
You've got a long-range rifle, haven't you?
Yes, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Well,
so,
yes,
yeah, you don't have to take it off. You actually just do a tracking with the gun. We'll come back to you in a second, though, because I want to know what everybody else is doing first, and then we'll go around.
Carter just pipes up and just goes, "It occurs to me that we could just lie. We are due to communicate with our home base. We just report that we have almost arrived and that we are waiting for the weather to be clement to do the thing, and then watch as they start to land."
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that unless they can see us doing it.
As an engineer, in fact, can you roll me just a normal engineering roll?
That was a failure with advantage.
There's a number of different ways they could be tracking you with the communications array. They might only be able to spot you when you're using it. They might be able to track it just generally. Without cracking open the communications array, there's no real way of knowing how much information they have on your location. But the advantage you can use for whatever you fancy, really.
He's going to, when he eventually cracks open because essentially what's happened there is he's gone, there's different ways they can track us, and then he started thinking about the schematics of the machine that he's about to crack open.
Okay.
So rather than actually getting a useful insight, he's just gone, I could do this instead, and he's concentrating on the thing. So Carter bindles for 30 seconds, basically goes, yes, the schematics, we could do this with the transistor and the valve.
I was looking to give you information without cracking it open with that roll, and that's not the case. You have to crack it open to find out what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay. Adam, any idea what your plan would be? In fact, I'm not going to go around and just ask people generally. If people have things they need to go, do tell me.
No, I have nothing. I think maybe swing back to Ross and see what his scope can see.
Yeah, sure. We'll do that, and then we'll come back to you, Lou. So, perception check. I'm going to give you a boost for the scope.
Okay, and difficulty?
Difficulty is 2. If I don't say it, difficulty is 2.
2 success. No advantage or threat.
Okay. So it seems like a weird thing to have with a success, but you don't see any.
Okay.
And the reason you don't see any is because there isn't any. So you are not being tracked from the ground that you can see.
No, I just had that weird visual of potentially Vreen acting like penguins, looking up as an aircraft goes ahead and then falling over on
And
the
falling
back.
over. No,
Yeah.
no. There's not a great deal to the Ashen Wastes because they are both ashen and wasteful. So it would be fairly easy to spot creatures on the ground like you would when you see camels in the Sahara and they've got that weird shadow. It looks like they're lying down.
Okay.
You can't see anything on you can't see really anything at all. It is a desolate wasteland.
Right, okay.
So my plan is, with the information that Captain Heek has kindly provided about the clouds, I am going to punch it through those clouds and see if we can't get them to have a little chase. And then I'm going to see if I can't get them into a little bit of lightning.
I'd like to assist this by making a valuable facts roll, which is an average knowledge check. It's going to be education, and my intention is to recall some of the geographical, like, I've done some reading around the Ashen Wastes as part of my broad degree, so I'm going to point out some of the areas where we know that there are odd weather currents that trigger more violent cloud cover and cloud storms. So I'm going to make that roll, and if I succeed, you get a triumph for this skill check, Lou.
Okay. Before you do that, I'm going to tell you what Lou's skill check is, because then you'll know that if you've been successful on it. This is a difficult roll. So 3 purple. You get already an upgraded dice from previously. Now, I'm not going to give you any setback or any boosts. You get to choose how many you want. Now, for the amount of setback you have, you get an equivalent level of boosts, because the setbacks is the storm makes it the visibility poor and the sky's chaotic. So if you push towards the really, really visibility poor bits, it's a setback because it's difficult to actually maneuver, but also it's a boost because you're hiding in the storm. And obviously it is a environmental thing, so the first 2 setback,
Wiped out.
you could wipe that out and get 2 boosts, or you could have 2 setback and 4 boost if you wish.
And is this a survival or a piloting roll?
It's going to be a piloting roll.
Yep.
But you'll get your advantage for the survival stuff. So basically anything that you would get as an advantage with a dice on a survival check, you can take into consideration here.
While this is happening, Carter will be at the array, and the plan is to jam or pop their own communication system by overloading ours.
Before you roll, Lou, I want Adam to roll and I want Ed to roll. So Adam, you do your roll first.
My roll gets 2 successes, which means you get a automatic triumph on your roll, Lou.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
And
Ed,
this is mechanics, yeah.
mechanics, please.
Can I flip on light side? Does anyone object?
No, go for it.
Worth mentioning, I am going to flip a dark side on Lou's roll. Yeah.
That's a failure, Ed.
Yep, I break the radio.
No, you don't. That's the point.
Oh.
As a thing, that would have reduced the difficulty from difficult to a normal roll, which is why we had that on there. So, Lou, your difficulty, as I say, is 2 purple and 1 red. You can have up to a maximum of 4 setback boost die. Obviously, you ignore your first 2 setbacks. And you have an automatic triumph, which is kind of cool.
So I'm going to take the 2 free boosts, because why wouldn't I? Let's go. So that is 1 success, 3 advantage, and the triumph from Adam.
And the triumph. Fantastic. Okay, so success. You managed to expertly guide the ship through the storm, driving through a series of tight turns and evasive manoeuvres. The pursuing ship struggles to keep up with the erratic path that you are. You're trying to push it into a more angry lightning side of things, are you? Is that right?
Yeah, and like where the more severe crosswinds are, and just where it'll be hard to track us. But yes, because I would also like to use my cunning snare talent to create a trap for them, using these environmental effects.
Yeah.
So when they've done that, we're going to have to make an opposed vigilance versus survival check.
Awesome. So you can lose them in this because of the roll that you had here. You're able to make a number of quick turns, get yourself quite close to the ground, which means that visibility is practically nothing, and push your way away from them. You can escape their sight. If we can do the what's the check, sorry, did you say?
The difficulty of the vigilance test is your survival converted, so if it would be yellow, yellow, green, it's red, red, purple.
Yep, so it is yellow, yellow, green.
So yeah, difficulty is red, red, purple on their vigilance test.
Jeez.
Yeah, my survival's good.
Yeah. And you took 2 setback, didn't you? So they're following you, so they're going to have the same amount of setback.
Yep.
And boost. So give me a second.
Busting out our new talents effectively tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smoke him if you got him.
Well, they've got 2 advantages and 3 failure. So how do you imagine that might affect? I'm going to take damage to their ship because of it. Are you essentially riding the lightning? Are you guiding them into a position where they have to push through the worst part of the storm?
Yeah, effectively, I'm pushing them to go through the thunderhead, the worst, like most active part. So you'll have the lightning, but you'll also have the weird wind vortexes. So they might just like suddenly drop.
Yeah. As
they hit an air pocket.
This doesn't happen immediately. This is a long chase. You push into the storm, and immediately the ship drops 20 feet and then lists to the side, and you are fighting against the currents. You are pushing against the storm. It would be a lot easier to go through this weather and to ride the winds, but you are purposely pushing through the storm to force them into a compromising situation. It's probably half an hour or so of you seeing them illuminated by lightning behind you as they try to keep up. They are a bigger and faster ship, and unfortunately for them, the fact that they are a bigger ship means they're a bigger target for the wind, for the storm, for the lightning that goes on. Everybody needs to strap in, and not only do you hear lightning crack and thunder roaring, you can hear, quite obviously, random things from the ship rolling around as you try and evade stuff. The coffee pot, which was made not an hour before, trundles past as you're driving. Not smashed, but completely empty of coffee.
Damn it!
Oh, there's always more coffee. There is pots and pots and pots of the stuff. LaRue lived off it. There is crashes and smashes of plates as they slide off the tables and things like that behind. But you are in control. You know what you're doing. And it is a fight. You are basically fighting against the strength of this storm. Their ship is getting closer. They can see that you're trying to make a run for it, and they're getting closer. And that is exactly what you need them to do, because you push through a portion of the storm where suddenly you feel a crackling, kind of almost a static electricity as you push through it, knowing that this is an area of high turmoil and unlikely where lightning will dart up from the Ashen Wastes and hit the clouds. It doesn't happen as you push through, but as soon as you get through, you can hear crackling and a raucous boom as thunder strikes the clouds behind you, illuminating the ship and causing it to crackle around it. They've taken a significant amount of damage from the lightning arcing up and hitting their ship. Seconds later, clouds coalesce around it, and you don't see them following you. There is not a silence because you're still pushing against this storm, but there is a reprieve. You cannot see them behind you. They've taken some damage from being pushed into the worst part of this weather. And for the next half an hour, as you wrestle with the storm, you don't see them. The winds drop down, the storm abates, and whilst the air is filled with cloud and rain and it's not great, it is just raining now. It's not stormy. The storm is left behind you. Moments pass. 10, 20, 30 minutes. Seatbelts are unbuckled. A new pot of coffee is brewed.
Yeah, I turn off the seatbelt sign. Bing bong.
I was about to say, is all this automatic or is somebody brewing the coffee?
Oh no, somebody is brewing coffee.
Somebody had better be brewing the coffee.
It'll probably be me, as it's about the only way I can make myself useful, given that I can't see further than the span of the room in which the coffee machine is. So I will be making tea and coffee.
Yes, I would imagine that during the course of that, Kuro's face was in a toothy, rictus grin of sheer delight. This is a thrill seeker who is seeking some thrills and is absolutely loving that. Yes, I'm staring death in the face and hee red eyes flashing in the lightning and first standing on end for the static electricity.
Oh, God, yeah. It occurs to you that you've not really flown one of these ships before, and you can't see why you haven't, because this is amazing.
I know exactly why I haven't, because of this reason.
LaRue's not around to tell you it's a bad idea. You are doing really, really well.
Exactly.
You enter another bank of cloud, not a storm clouds, but rain clouds, and you disappear into it before their ship comes out of the storm. So, hypothetically, you have probably lost them unless they're tracking you with the communications device. Certainly, they don't know where you are through visual, so any sort of vision or anything like that. Coffee is brewed. The rain hits the deck above you. You've escaped.
Captain, make sure that thing's off. I'm going to jink us around a little bit, take them off course, or if they do get out of that, they're going to go the wrong way.
So, rather than doing anything fancy, he's just going to pull out a power reel. As if you want me to make a check for that, I can, but I'm assuming it's fairly straightforward just to make sure it's off.
I want you to make a check for it.
Cool. To see if we can discover the hidden backup power supply that's in there so they can still track us when we try to sabotage it. If you want to flip a light side point, please feel free to.
Will do.
I won't be asking to flip another dark side. I want to keep them for the Templar.
And I've already used my once per encounter have a free triumph, so
Yeah.
Soz, mate.
It's alright. Ah!
Why have we brought you along? Get Appia here. She's far more useful.
I have advantage, but not
Yes, failure with an advantage.
failure with advantage. What's that mean?
Okay, so, Ed, you're
Yep.
absolutely certain it's off. Would you like to use your advantage to, and I believe the phrase is, do a lasser?
Yes, please.
Okay, it's definitely off. Everybody thinks you've done a very good job.
Hang on. I hadn't realised what do a lasser means. Can I spend the advantage to, though I haven't turned it off, essentially in trying to turn it off, fail to turn it off, and instead set it on fire, which means I'm like, right, it's now on fire.
Boot it out. Don't have fire on the ship.
So we boot it out instead. Bad news. It's built into the relay of the ship, so it won't turn off. I could remove it, but we might have problems starting the ship in future. Fix that with a big piece of wire, possibly. Does that work, Mikey? Is that like roughly where we are?
When you say boot it, do you mean boot it out of the ship or reboot it?
Yeah, boot it out of the ship.
Yeah, if you boot it out of the ship, you're fine. Whilst it is linked into the power supply of the ship, you can just rip it out.
So he takes a very big cable, connects it from like one end to the other end, so it's like it circumvents the relay, sets a fire extinguisher to one side, and then very, very precisely and mechanically proceeds to smash the living heck out of it until it's not actually bolted on the ship anymore. And sparks are flying because he's put like the divert on, nothing powers down, and he's smacking it, and then he just looks up and goes, "I will need a hand," and looks at Savriel and goes, "Your left."
It occurs to you, Ed, that the perfect tool for smashing this up is the kind of the crowbar-y thing you were going to use as the autopilot, which is essentially just a big piece of...
it's just a crook lock, yeah.
Yeah, it's a crook lock. You beat it to death with a crook lock, yeah.
So yes, there's a very technical smash.
You don't need to roll anything to smash it up.
Okay.
It'll just take time.
Cool.
But you now no longer have communications. You've got short range, which came with the ship, but long range communications are now down.
We probably should have sent a message before that saying that we were going dark, but never mind.
I considered it, but I think the screams and popping of the machine being received might give them a hint it's broken.
Yeah, no worries.
Also, that means that we sent another message. Anything we send might be a clue to people stalking us, whereas the sound of our expensive communication system breaking and then them watching us as a thing that's on fire comes out the back of a ship tells a story we do not need to bluff with.
Yes, and I'm going to change direction.
Okay.
As soon as it's smashed, as soon as we do whatever we're doing with it, I'm changing direction.
Yep. I am happy with the fact that your triumph, along with Ed smashing... Are you throwing it out the ship, or are you going to leave it in there?
Yeah.
I mean, it is on fire now. Yeah, okay.
It is on fire. It's going out. I did not roll well enough to rescue anything.
Yeah. Even if they can detect it, they'll be detecting it from about 3 miles down.
3 miles down and in the wrong direction.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't see a way that they might be chasing you right now. They might be tracking you. You start pushing the larger bits of the communications array out of the ship, dragging it onto the deck, and hearing the hiss as the light rain hits the flaming bits of what you have smashed up as you throw them overboard. There's about 4 or 5 different significant pieces of this thing now, and they very satisfyingly disappear into the cloud bank beneath you as you start feeling the ship banking, as Kuro pulls the ship round and heads in a different direction. There is no sign of your pursuers, no indication about why they were following you without giving any sort of note as to their intention. That's the word. No indication about why they were following you and what their intentions were. You are now lost in the Ashen Wastes. Not lost yourself, but lost from their opinions. You bank again into another set of clouds and disappear from view. And that's where I'm going to end it today. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. We will continue on with our adventures into the Ashen Waste with this evil prism and what that entails. And I'll see you again next time.
But wait, before we leave you, this episode's patron is Corey Mack. Corey is another one that we have gently enticed over from the Dice Cord Massif to come and join us over in the Force Majeure world, and he is a goddamn delight. Love chatting with him on the Discord and are super grateful for your support. Thank you so much, Corey. It's a pleasure to have you around, and thank you, as I say, for your support of the show. If you want to be like Corey and join the elites, that support the show, you can do so on patreon.com/forcemajeurepod. Although if you're going to do that and you use Apple, do not use the Apple app, because otherwise everyone gets hit with a load of fees. Otherwise, if you just want to hang out and chat with us, why not join our Discord? Links are in the show notes. Thank you as always to all of our backers for supporting the show. Thank you as always to all of our listeners for listening. Look after yourselves, my loves, remain delightful, and we will see you all next time. Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Edge Studios. Our intro music is by the amazing Sly Fox Audio. Check out more of her work at soundcloud.com/SlyFoxAudio. Our outro music is Suburban Outlaw instrumental version by Forget the Whale, used with gratitude under a Creative Commons license. Many of the sound effects and soundscapes are created using Sirenscape, because epic games need epic sounds. If you're enjoying the show and want to support us, there's 3 ways you can do that. The first is by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/forcemajeurepod, where for as little as $1 a month you get access to outtakes, adverts, various other stuff, and my fortnightly ramblings. You can drop us a coffee at ko-fi.com/forcemajeurepod, or you can leave us a rating and review wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to interact with us, there's a few ways you can do that. We are on the social medias, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter as @ForceMajeurePod, and we're over on Mastodon as @ForceMajeurePod at dice.can. You can also join our Discord, link in the show notes. Thank you very much for listening and being with us as we tell these stories. We hope you are having fun, and we will see you next time.